Welcome, YouTube, to another podcast of real issues and real discussions with Forrest and friends. Today, we talk about racism. So be forewarned, you may hear some words that aren't necessarily the most politically correct, but it's an open dialogue. The views that we discuss may not represent our own. We're just trying to create an environment where we view all aspects of racism. I'm joined as always with my partner Jason and Justin. We hopefully will be joined shortly with DOA, and this is a joint podcast that will be between Forrest and friends, as well as Justin's very own destruction of America that you will be able to see on his YouTube page, and there will be a link in the description below. So Justin will be headlining tonight's episode. So take it away, Justin.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Racism. It is a... What's that buzzing from?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that is, too.
Oh, did they already message you?
I got no messages from anybody.
Okay.
Alright. Well,
if he's
we're
on,
here for
anybody can invite him to this call if he's on. Sorry about that.
Okay, please.
Racism. It's a very divisive subject. Has been the cause of many of issues over hundreds of years, not just in America, but worldwide. Racism has been an issue. In general, every country you visit has a majority population, and quite often they're not very happy with minority populations being there. Mm-hmm. But specifically in America, slavery has been a major cause of racism in our country. Immigrants have been a major cause of racism in our country. And although we are supposed to be a melting pot of people, and many other things, such as, if you're religious, gods teach you that everyone's your brother. Despite all the good teachings that are around, we still don't look at our fellow man as just that, a man. We look at him as a black man, a brown man, a white man, a yellow man, or a pink man if he's gay. But we spread a lot of hate. The biggest issue I see is that the blame for it seems to get pointed at the white man. And has the white man caused some problems? Yes. Are there racist white people? Yes. But being a member and a white guy, I'm here to tell you that we are not the only racist people in this country. So I would like to start out my end of the lead by asking you guys about some experiences you've had with racism. Whether or not it's been you being racist or someone racist towards you. So, we'll go to Jason.
Fair enough.
Just a quick
I used
note,
to do
I'm sorry. I can't close Skype because I'm doing a screen mirror for the live cast. He had to make a new account, so I told him to message Justin to get added to the Skype call.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jason.
Sounds good. I guess if we're talking experiences of racism that I've faced, as you all know, I used to do a lot of hip hop music and stuff like that. And when I would go down to the Miramar on the north side, or on the whatever in the east side, and really just the first few times I went down there, I had faced what probably most people face. You know what I mean? At least what most white people face when they go into a situation like that. I was literally the one and only white person there, and so I was faced, with disrespect right off the bat. I pretty much had to earn my way into getting some sort of respect. But I guess that's just kind of how it works down there too. As far as dealing with straight up like racism in that sort of a sense, I mean, there's always been artists that I would deal with down there that were just going to hate me regardless, just for being the white guy that's trying to rap and do all that. But I don't know. I can think of more. Probably come back to me though. That's probably the biggest one that I could think of as far as like blatant black and white, just hatred based on first sight. But no, there's plenty more I can think of once we get the ball rolling. But I guess how about you, Forrest? Because I mean, you live down in a much more segregated area than I did. I went down there to do shows and visit, but you had to live there every day. So I mean.
Growing up in Milwaukee in the urban area, in the ghetto, as you will, it wasn't. I can't really honestly say, without just sounding like I'm nitpicking, that I ever experienced racism. I mean, I lived in a prominently Latino neighborhood with a lot of Latin Kings, and you'd get the weird looks walking into like a music store to buy hip hop music, or I was really big into like house music and stuff, and that was really weird seeing a white person in one of those stores. I went to a school which was prominently black, and they all had their cliques and I was the outsider. But I think the first time I really experienced racism wasn't at me directly, but I worked at Walmart years ago up in Chilton, and I signed up vehicles for oil changes and tire changes, and we had a black guy that worked with us. He was cool, he's a real cool dude, and this older redneck kind of guy came in with this pickup, wanting a set of tires. I was signing him up, seemed as nice as could be, and then right after I signed him up and I'm about to grab his keys, he looks at me and says quietly, "Please don't let that enter touch my vehicle." And I'm just like, dude, like, you really had to take your keys and get the fuck out of here. Like, you really had to say that. And I think that was like the first time I really ever experienced racism, even though it wasn't about me. And I felt horrible that like the person I considered a friend that I worked with actually had to experience that.
Yeah.
It looks like DOA might be connected, but now we lost Jason's face.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm here.
Just in there still? Alright.
There we go. Justin's back.
So I guess another example I could think of, and I mean, I guess it's racism that kind of worked in my favor, but I thought it was messed up just anyway. Not enough for me to quit the job because I was an 18-year-old naive. I think I told this story actually on this podcast already. I was working at the foundry in Saukville, and they hired me on for I think $11 an hour or something like that. And then about 2 days in, they gave me $1 raise and made me the morning person that comes in and sets up all the machines and stuff for everybody. Literally with no experience. Again, I'm 18 years old. I had no experience. And my supervisor told me it was because I was a white guy that I got that position. There's Mexicans there that have been working there 10, 20 years before me that are still just, pouring parts every day that never even got offered that job. And I guarantee you it's because they're not white. So you see that does happen, in small areas like this and stuff. It's, it was messed up. It was a weird little spot in my life to hear, just to hear that. And I don't know. So, I mean, it's got to happen more than we think, I suppose. Especially in areas like this.
DOA has plenty of...
I know, I kind of wish he was here for hearing all this already.
I think he's... Looks like he's connected now.
I'm trying to get him in.
All right, good deal. I say, because it does seem a little odd for three white guys to talk about racism.
Yeah.
All right, what's up, DOA?
I had to record. I had to get a whole new account. I don't know what happened last week. I don't even know. I can't tell you. My fault, man.
That's all good. Well, short little recap. I started out by talking about how divisive racism is, and how I feel the roots of it began in our country. I asked the gentleman to share experience with racism, either against them or if they have used racism against somebody else. So, it's your turn. Share an experience with our crowd.
You mean use prejudice against you, right?
No. Prejudice, racism, same thing.
No, it's the same thing. Actually, it's not the same thing. Racism is a systemic issue. Whereas prejudice, everyone has prejudice, so we know that part. So let's get that clear as far as definitions go. But yeah, as far as my experiences, I've had several. Going back to when I was a little kid, I was walking up ahead, running to my mom in the store in Zayres. You guys remember Zayres or no? Or am I too old? Okay, you guys, I know what Zayres is. But Zayres is like Kmart or Walmart, how it was back in the day. Well, I'm running out to go have my mom some gum. At that time, they used to have security, like real police would be in there. The guy stops me and kind of almost pushes me to the ground. I'm like 4 years old. And guess what? He says he thought I was stealing the gum. My mom's a white lady, and he didn't know that. So he stopped me based on that thing. Not because I was in any threat of stealing something at 4 years old, but because I had a big afro and I needed to be stopped, I guess. I was going to do damage to the community with that one stick of gum. So that happens there. Then up living in this area,
here's really good interesting. At least I have
well, this area is there, but before that though, NWA comes out. My buddy's singing "F the Police." I don't know this. He's just telling me. He's at his headphones. He pulls up in front of my house. Now I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, 4 black and whites pull up, take out their guns, and people don't think they do that, but they do that. Took out the guns. I'm on the fucking porch. I'm in the 7th or 8th grade at this time. I'm like, what happened? I didn't know what was going on. And he told me I was just whatever. I could, whatever. But so they took away, threw them all down on the cars. That was horrible, right? So then fast forward to coming up here, I called the police on these 2 little kids. They spray painted in front of my house over there on a church lane, where the fire was. I used to stay in that actual place. But anyway, these kids spray painted. So I called the police because otherwise they would say we did it. So I called the police, and they came out there. And the police goes over to the white lady, and he's talking to the white lady. I call the police now, and my address, he's supposed to talk to me. Walks right past me and goes to them and act like I was being hostile, which I wasn't. And then he tried to yell at me, like, get back in your house. I'm like, no, this is my property. You get out of here. So then he goes out to the parking lot because he was wrong. I mean, the N-word, no one's been as bold. People try to talk about sentences and they try to think it's okay to use it because they're not saying it per se, but they are saying it. They don't get it. So, I mean, it's not a normal thing. It still infuriates me. It makes me mad. It puts me in situations where it probably shouldn't be, in those kind of situations. But, it's like, why? It's 2018 and still something. Why? Saying why? It's still prevalent to this day. So sorry about that. It's a lot of stories, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it's because so many people still using it.
I don't know if you knew that. If you want it like that, that's fine.
What?
You have no video?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. As long as they can hear my voice, I guess. I mean, if they want to hear my voice, that's fine. That's cool. That's not a problem. I'm not worried. So what do you guys think about it? Like I should say, I don't know. I can get to,
I think the word still has such prevalence today because it's still used so much as a weapon. You know what I mean? People are still using it as an attack. Obviously, the other side, you can use it as an endearing term, and not really white people, in really any circumstances. Because it's used so often as a weapon and so carelessly as one that that's a hard line to cross. Louis C.K. had a funny bit. I'm sure you guys have all heard it, or maybe some of you have, where he's talking about white people using the N-word by saying N-word. And how that's still just them getting away with saying it because saying a word, obviously, even just saying the first letter of a word puts that word in your head.
Right.
But I don't know what the answer is to that, obviously, because the word doesn't affect me, obviously, because I'm a white person. I understand, at least I find as much understanding as I can, and why it's okay to use, by blacks or by anybody else, or and why it is still used, why it is still such a horrible word to use or not be used.
Well, I think the word, like you stated, though, is very powerful in regards of who and how, right? It's like language, right? Who and how you say certain things.
Right, context is huge.
Right. The Allstate commercial is the best. The one with the little girl getting the car from her dad, but then the other guy shows up, says the exact same thing. But his car has been jacked and tore up. But she's saying the same exact thing as this little girl saying. So it's like the same as that, but it's like I had a problem with anybody saying it. Probably that's outside of and this ain't no context to look inside what's happening. Why is it? Why I just think the context of who uses it is important. to know, you know what I'm saying? And that's like, if I decide to talk that way, I would talk that way. I've had several conversations with both you and Justin, and I've never said the word in front of you guys probably ever.
Mm-hmm.
Jason might have heard me say it in a song maybe once or twice.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But Justin's never heard me have a conversation where we're sitting up there openly using the word. The meaning is,
Right.
I know who to say it to, whatever. So in other words, if I don't want you to say it, I don't say it around you.
So
therefore,
you're referring to the NA and not the NER?
No, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even really. It doesn't really matter.
I understand. I was just.
No. I know what you're saying. No. I'm just talking about in general. Like I wouldn't even say it to say it. I don't do that. I know who I'm talking around. And basically, what I'm saying is. So in other words, I look at it like this. If I'm not out here doing it, I don't expect nobody else to do it. But some people would say, okay, well, I had this one dude. You guys remember Django, right?
Yep.
Okay, and Samuel L. Jackson's part. Okay, it's a crazy movie, right? So Samuel Jackson's part, this dude's trying to retell me the story. White male in his 50s. He's trying to tell me this story, and I told him, hold on.
Way to go.
I told him, no, we're good. You can save that for when you guys run. So that means that's what goes on around me when I'm not there. I'm not gonna let it happen in front of me while I'm there, and that's not a problem. Like I said, I don't have a problem with it, but it's like you can't do that. Like, especially at work. And this was at work. I can just easily go to HR. But then again, I can tell you about that, too. Went to HR once. Somebody was writing N-word on his newspaper underneath the stuff when the stuff was happening in Baltimore, for example. And they didn't do nothing about it. They lumped me in with the women and everybody else that was offended by some stuff and made this big old PR thing. So they didn't even address that part of my situation. I'm the only black guy there, though. So, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to do stuff for me. So it's like, then I shouldn't feel like they're doing it individually for me when that's my heritage. That's, that's who I am. Right. Therefore, it's never going to end. And that's the systemic part of it. That's never going to end. And that's why racism is still going to be prevalent. When you hear people talk about, like, make America great again, when you hear people talking, they say back in the day, it has to be scary. Not for you guys, maybe, but it has to be scary. If you think about, okay, so you want it to be worse than what it was. There's no great time, no grand time where something was even. There's been no time. So what do you mean be great again? You mean chains and whips, because the Constitution had to be amended, right? And then again, black people weren't even made American citizens, if you think about it. They had to amend something in the 1900s that they should have got when they got free as being slaves. So this goes back. This goes back as far as systemic racism, color racism, just seeing somebody calling them honkies or N-words or whatever, whatever the bad words are, right? And it's messed up. I just think, I want the world to be a better place. But, this is the reality we live in. It's 2018, and here we still have to have a good discussion about racism. I'm sorry, I'll probably...
No, that's not... I mean, I agree. I think it comes down to respect. I mean, I think everything you just said really comes down to respect. That's the reason that you won't use the word in front of us. The reason the word itself isn't, being brought up or thrown around. Yeah, it's a respect thing. There's not, I don't believe in this country there's enough respect overall between black and white people for that to, to be overcome quite yet.
There's no human respect. Just human respect. Yeah. Just respect for other people, period.
Especially you get people, once people could be anonymous and online and stuff, then they're really going to be throwing out, how they really feel or what they think they can get away with, and really just, not having to worry about that respect at all. And, again, I don't have the answer to that, but it's sad to see that we're so unevolved, that we can't get past something as simple as that. Because I think me and Forrest were talking about it, or maybe the whole group was talking about it one day, where we were saying that there's a difference between being racist and understanding cultural differences between race. Because every race has cultural differences, obviously, every single one of them. And I mean, there's gonna be low people, low, simple-minded people that are gonna hate everyone for that, or people don't like change. People don't like something different. They like to pick it apart. People don't look at what's the same. They look at the exact opposite of that. We're all kind of negative in a way.
Everything has been put.
All right, what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
I apologize for me looking preoccupied.
It's my fault, actually. If I'd got here on time, trust me, there was technical difficulties, but it's okay. Anyway,
Before we move on from the N-word and how you feel about it, and I apologize in advance, a lot of questions are going to be, sent your direction just because
that's fine.
You're experiencing more than our three white asses. One thing that I've always wondered is, I understand, it's not right obviously for white people to say it, but why is it culturally acceptable, especially in music and such, for Latinos to say the N-word? It's always
Chinese.
It's not. I don't like when Be Real says it, and Be Real really don't say it that much. I mean, I'm just talking about a prevalent guy, but it's the younger generation now. Like my nephew, for example. I know exactly what you're getting at for us. Mm-hmm. My nephew, for example, he was saying it now. His group of friends, I know them. They're two other white guys. They're his age. Okay, so they're like 17. Mm-hmm. And even when I came up here, there was a couple guys who tried it. When I first came up here, and I had to say, "Hey, what's going on here?" It's like you wouldn't like if I was whatever. I had to, teachable moments, right? Yep. So I had to make sure I explained, like, hey, I'm saying, and that's how I look at it. It's not like me trying to save the whole race or whatever else. It's just more like it's. I ain't gonna say it's okay. Just how you grow up. So that's one of my slang terms, like the F word. I'm gonna say the F word because I don't want to say that because I don't want people who have gender specific sexual orientation to get offended, right? So we used to say that all the time, but I didn't mean like you were really a F word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but you know what I mean? That was just something we said. So what happens? It became that way of the whatever, and then we find out that the term of endearment. I mean, you can explain it. Tupac explains it, right? So everybody's like, "Oh, never ignorant, getting goals accomplished." Okay, so it's like that's the NIGGA term for it to be whatever. My father hates it, right? My father hates it because he grew up in Arkansas. He saw people actually hang from trees. So therefore, just because they're black, not because they're not from no ceremony for killing someone or something, but just actually just because strange fruit. If you know that song, that's what it's talking about. Mm-hmm. So and I just think it just became one of those things where it's like you get called it so much. All of a sudden you start using it too. So that someone does something, it's like self-hate, right? And then somebody said, well, we're cool. So we just say it to each other. And it was like, and say it. And it was like, it just use this and take away the power from it. But a white guy, like I've known some of the most thoroughest, I guess, Caucasian Americans that I grew up with, that if they were to say it, it'd probably be like, huh? Yeah. They put in enough work. They hung around us enough. It was like
his heart's not in that place, right?
But listen, though. Here's the thing. They never did, though. See, up here is different. See, it's safe. We're talking about good. I'm talking about where I live at. We have a guy named White Mike to this day. And he has mixed kids. I've never once heard him say it at all in my lifetime. And he hung around us all the time. He didn't like have his other set of friends he went to. He was with us all the time, and he never once said it. Even if someone said "F you," then they said it, and it was like, okay, it was like it was no thing. So I don't know why it's acceptable. It's just something it is. It's just like I would say, don't press the button, but I know behind closed doors, people do. People have gotten more bold.
Yep. People talk about open a little bit.
Grocery stores, there's still people who don't understand why Colin Kaepernick took a knee. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, Tyler, you can't break through someone who can't figure that part out. And it's like, then they want to break down. So, well, why couldn't you say it? You can say it. Not that you said it that way. I'm saying this is what I've had this asked to me. And I never used it once. I said, look, if I don't use it, you shouldn't use it. Point blank. At work. And it said, do you want to lose your job? And I had to ask them that. Do you want to lose your job? And then they don't say it around me at all. Like, I don't play with it. I don't play it because, you see, if you let someone do it once, they can do it again and again and again. So I don't know. I can't even answer you why it's I just wouldn't push that envelope. Like, it's not. It's the word is in blood. When I see another black man use it, depending on what platform it's on, sometimes it's like, maybe we couldn't do it. And at the same time, if it's a comedian, I don't care because his expression is it's an expression. You take the bad and make good. You got to understand. Lemonade came when throwing away lemons did not want lemons, and they threw away the shit. And someone said, "We can make this shit good." You know what I'm saying? It's language. But
I think it really does come down to context. I have a Mexican roommate, and I mean he's more than a roommate. He's basically my nephew. I've helped guide him through life. I've known him since he was 8 years old. He's now 21, and he'll call me cracker, and he'll make stupid little I don't even like calling them racist white jokes because they're so stupid. Like, there's really no
Right.
racist white term. But, like, you know, we'll go swimming or something. I'll be like, no, you're actually a wetback or something. I'll just make stupid, like, Mexican jokes. And he knows it's straight out of love. It's not any meaning behind it as far as being bad. It's just, I have a pretty dark sense of humor, and I'll make stupid jokes like that, and he will too. But I would never do it to somebody I don't know, or ever do it in a derogatory manner.
Right.
I mean, I think just people going around and calling each other the word emboldens others to use the word. I mean, if the A version was made to take the power away from the R version, it would have happened.
No,
but reality is,
it
won't happen.
No, I thought it. You're right. It's 2018. I'm thinking we could have moved past, but I didn't see it get worse. And somebody tried to blame Barack Obama for this, but when he was getting elected, I'd never seen so much blatant racism in my life. Up here, I ain't even talking about the news. Screw the news. Talking about up here in Wisconsin, up here in northern Wisconsin, 25 minutes north of Milwaukee. I never thought so much blatant. There's one guy, he was campaigning for him, and they wrote "in lover" on his car at my work. So you got to think about this for a minute. So I got to deal with this stuff, but I like to make my money. So it's kind of like I can stand on my own too, but enough is enough, right? So it's like one of those things where it's like you would think that would take away the power, but it didn't. It don't. You understand something? It's not about who's in charge, but then again, it's how the system has been set up for those in charge, that it's always going to be something that someone can say and get aroused out of you because you know why you're saying it. Like there's no situation that can you tell me why you should be able to use the word. You can't tell me any sentence. Go ahead. I'm sitting here. You can't tell me any reason why you should be able to use it.
I'm not going to sit here and say I've never said the word. Not going to say I've never said the word. Have I ever went up to a black guy and called him one? No. Because I don't disrespect people like that. But I do karaoke and sing along to rap songs all the time.
I'm wondering, like, if there's a line.
I don't change the lyrics to a song because I'm hurting the song.
Man, it's like this.
If I can think about changing the word, I do.
You should, but it's the gray area, right? You go to a concert, right? And I forgot this one concert was this guy was going. He didn't care. He was like he had the guy rapping his song. It was a white guy. I forgot I don't know if it was Travis Scott or whoever it was, but he's rapping. He said, "See, this is the problem, whatever." And he let him, not let him say the word, but he said the whole lyrics like they were, and it was kind of like I've never seen that reaction before. So I think the young people, like I was talking about my nephew, they are like they don't really care. But then I asked about history. They don't know a lot of the history either. So therefore, once you enlighten people, it's not taking them back. It's like understand what's going on. You know what I mean? This is what you're doing, and I understand. But my thing is, can you do it without that? Without that word, trying to explain to him some things that's going to mean something one day. And like I said, you can't be buddy with these friends saying it, and this guy over here says it, then you get mad. But then again, like I said, depending on how he says it, you're going to get mad at me. I'm just like, I don't tolerate it at all. I have a zero. Brett's never said the word once in his life. You know what I'm saying? Who else can I say? Who else do I know? That you guys know, whatever. You guys, Jason, I never heard you guys say it or anything.
I say I don't use it in my music or anything like that. But I do kind of agree with Justin on that one. In the context of a quote or something that's put out for the public for all races to see or hear, it's like, if you're singing along to a song and you drop one in there, it's part of the song. Yeah, I mean, I'll admit it feels uncomfortable.
That word has incited death. You don't understand, like that word.
No, definitely.
Is blood. I know you don't understand. I'm just saying that word has so much blood on it that, like I said, like anything else, like the parts of the hog that massa didn't eat. You know what I'm saying? You turn it into a delicacies, right? You turn it into something, and that's just from my heritage. That has nothing to do with you being able to, or me giving you permission, or whatever, however you want to look at it. So it's not one of those. It's just that understand your context and why you're in it. Now, if you're a hate monger person, you're gonna
say whatever you want, right?
You're gonna not care. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Forrest.
Do you think it would never happen, and I know there's a lot of history behind the word, but do you think if everybody just decided today this word is no longer going to matter to me at all or affect me in any way, do you think that could essentially cut racism almost in half as far as...
No, because people are not going to like you for who you are. Period.
Yeah.
Like you said, like for example, like you were talking about people calling you a big guy, right? But using derogatory statements, right?
Right.
There's always going to find somebody's always who, if they're having a bad day, or if they're just evil, or they're just a mean-spirited person, they're going to find a way to tick you off, no matter what your race, creed, color, or kind is.
Right.
So
The word itself isn't racism.
Evil is
right.
just evil, right? Evil is evil, right? There's no, people want to do color, like they want us to fight about it, like us being on the same level. For example, I consider all of us kind of on the same level. We're all working adults, whatever, and we're trying to maintain it or whatever. There's always something that's trying to keep us fighting at each other, to keep us splitting apart all the time.
The news and the press.
I have to catch myself watching the news, and then if you're gonna flip back and forth, it doesn't make sense, because all news should be the same thing, but then they're so caught up in some that we don't even care about, because that stuff doesn't even affect us. But then we tend to fight about it, kind of like my comments last week when I was talking about different things, and I was making a comment, because that's true. Why we need to be together. Like this show needs to be together. It's good. It's good. People can do what you want to do, but I'm saying we need to be together, and that's the problem. Was everybody wants to be separate, because see, things start pulling you that way. Whether it's the news or something happens. I happen to know the family of the boy who got killed down in Racine. Now, mind you, my thing about policing people is like the overseers from back in the day. You got to understand something, what that means. That means there's blatantly a thing sped up to, this guy may do this because he's black, he's a young male, he's this and that. And that is the systematic part of racism that needs to come undone. We can change us for whatever. I mean, we're probably fine. It's the other parts of society that need to change. The way, the way they ask you for your name on things. They want you to write something like, my name is DOA. You never heard of it? There's not another one. I Google it all the time. There's not another one. I'm just me. I could get turned down from a job from that if I didn't have a other glowing resume. If I wasn't a former Marine. If I had worked in other jobs for years. If I don't have an associate degree. If I don't have these things, there's nothing else to look at. They can see the name and be like, I don't mark color no more on nothing.
There's so much hatred in the world. Just like my Facebook post I made that you all liked. Everybody, if you're not just like me, if you're not my color, if you don't, believe in my political beliefs, my religious beliefs, people are wishing death on other people for that. A lot of those news sites and political sites, religious sites, they're so toxic. Like, people forget. That's one great thing about America is we're a democracy. We're all entitled to our opinion. We all want things to do well. I've never heard a Democrat or Republican say, I hate your president because I want America to burn to the fucking ground. Like, we all want things to succeed. We just have our own views on it.
We do, but they like to play the game. Our elected officials like to go to Washington and play the game. That's different. But you guys heard about the alt-right site that's trying to down the Black Panther movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
If that doesn't show you what's wrong still with America right there, that's a perfect example right there. Like, why would you want this movie not to do good? I don't care that it's whatever. It's Black Panther. It's dope. It means something else for other reasons, but I'm saying is, why would you want to do that to try to sabotage a movie?
Right.
Now, the Black Panther movement has, just like a lot of organizations, they've mellowed out and they've transitioned to a more.
Oh, the Black Panther thing ain't got nothing to do with the movie.
You're talking about the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Black was not made for because of the Black Panther Party. If you didn't know that, I don't know if people.
I didn't know that. I thought it was basically a movie based.
No, it's not based. That's what.
It's a Marvel movie about a superhero.
That's why
which was also created.
Never made, that's what I'm trying to say. It was never made for that, and that's what I mean. And it doesn't matter. It's not separated from his blackness either. But I'm saying is that's one of the reasons right there. The example is that right there.
Idiot, but everything I heard about it, and
don't be an idiot.
I thought it was wow.
Controversy.
It's not far off the way it looks on the surface, But
that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to call you ignorant. I'm just going to say the stuff that you've read has been ignorant because you understand something. We stuff every day, right? All of us, right? On our timeline. Mm-hmm. And half people believe that stuff. You guys don't understand. People believe that stuff when it's on their timeline half the time. I couldn't believe the site was up doing this. And they were going to give it a low Rotten Tomato score.
Say they're all planning to flood Rotten Tomatoes or whatever,
Right. And it was like, wow. And then Facebook took down the page. But it's been like, that's what I'm saying. So you got to understand, that's systemic racism right there. That's something that they think is going to happen to try to use something that's a systematic thing to bring down somebody's advancement. You know what I'm saying? That's messed up.
I have a question. in regards to the opposite of that topic, like the store H&M when they did that shirt with the jungle.
Yeah.
With the monkey on it.
I always had, and we talked about this through text, me and Justin and Jason, was, is it them being racist for putting that child in the shirt, or is it people just assuming they're racist for doing that and claiming racism?
No, it's not even about, that's, again, we're talking about a big board of people that sit somewhere and approve things. No one on that board looks like that little boy, so they didn't think nothing of it. Just saying, think about this for a minute. And this is what I'm saying. It's like you with the Black Panther thing. We just kind of proved a little bit. It's not nothing wrong with you. Nobody's going to jump on Forrest. Don't be mad at Forrest. He didn't know. That's just, and that's fair. But I'm saying this was the same thing happened with H&M. So you're telling me nobody on that board of these people are figuring this out? The higher ups is the problem. The people that have the money and the control are the problem. H&M is a big store worldwide. That's what I mean, and that's why it was. And then my thing is like, how did the parents let this go?
They're out of somewhere like Australia, aren't they? Like somewhere where that doesn't really happen.
I have a different end to that.
Go
What
ahead.
if these people aren't looking at that in any way, in shape, and form of being racist?
Of course,
yeah.
There are people that like that. There's people that I personally didn't lose my shit over it personally.
Yeah, I think they put it out innocently enough. I think the people saw what it was.
To look at it for. That's why I'm mad at the NFL. That's why I'm sitting here with you guys and not watching that stupid game. And I haven't watched all year. That's what I'm talking about. Is when you have a chance to affect something, whether it be good or bad, and you choose the latter, then it happens. Now, my thing is, me to you guys in the world, whoever wants to listen, I didn't have any problem personally with it. It didn't knock me off my rocker. Like, a shark is a shark. Alligator is an alligator. Snake is a snake. Nothing surprises me anymore. Like, nothing like this. So when people get mad about Trump saying something, I'm like, okay, again,
You know what he's going to say.
No one. We know he's going to tweet something. It's like, what do you want him to do? You want him to die every time he tweets? I'm just like, you got to understand something. People in
like
power.
to explain himself sometimes.
Hey, it's hilarious, but that's what I'm saying. See, with you guys, and my thing is the outrage is crazy because people go by political side and not if the comments racist or not. They say because they're Democrats. Oh, look what he said. And they try to use whatever. And again, like I said, the higher ups making the bottom people fight. Right? It's how it's always been. It's always been that way. It's like you always take someone to fight. They had to tell the freed slaves, fight for us in the North so that way we can get you free. That was what they told them on the ground. But that was not the synopsis of what happened. That wasn't the reason why. Abraham Lincoln has said many times that if he could do this without ending slavery, he would. But he could not get that to happen. So therefore, it becomes knowing your history. Go read these books. Go read these things. Go not on the internet. Go read this stuff. They got all this stuff.
Robert E. Lee wanted to free the slaves.
Hey,
he just didn't want to have to kill his countrymen.
Could you guys imagine going somewhere like them 12 kids? Can you really put your head around that? Think about that for a minute. Those 12 kids that were shut up. That's what I'm trying to say. People say, "Oh my God!" So then you can't get mad about somebody doing that. We're doing that to other people all their life like that. That's crazy. And people say, "Why you still bring it up?" I said, "Because things have still been. The people who get to make the history end up getting to make the systems that allow us to go. The Constitution had. I'm gonna ask you guys this. It's a question for the panel. Do you guys think if the slaves were free and they were made citizens supposedly, do you think that they needed to amend the Constitution? Think about it.
No.
Exactly, because we're supposed to be Americans, but guess what? That didn't happen.
No.
That's what was effed up about the whole thing. So you gotta understand the Head Start, everything else. Now, mind you, we all can get the same kind of job, right? Me, Justin, Forrest, Jason.
You guys, maybe I can't.
we can all get the same pay grade somewhere or whatever around the same thing now. But see, that's what I mean. But if you want to advance in that company, guess who got a better chance? That's what I'm saying, and that's what I mean by by it being systematic. We'll let you work and get money. We don't care about that. You're just a worker. You're getting us the big money. You want to come up in these offices. You want to be a supervisor, even where I work at. They ain't looking for me.
It's kind of like the first story I was telling before we got you on here. Is that I was working at a place in Saukville, and I literally got a raise my first week because I was a white guy, and they told me it's because I was a white guy. That's not messed up enough. Yeah. I mean, and the guy I worked with was pretty openly racist because 90% of the people in the factory were Mexicans or whatever, and so all day it's just slurs and smack talk and so I mean he had no problem telling me right away that you're the setup guy now because you're a white dude. And
you're the white guy.
Yeah, and I mean again I was 18 years old. I'm naive. I'm not I didn't know. I was just like what the all right, I guess I'll take it.
I've been in situations at companies where I've known for a fact that
take a raise.
I've been in situations where I've known for a fact that a black person was discriminated against, and I've also been in the same position where I know a white person was discriminated against, and that was based off of how both of them came to the interviews dressed and acting. I like to. I know black people are discriminating against more than anybody. It'd be stupid to think otherwise, but I do think there's a certain, especially in the inner city, you have to.
White people can't go to the inner city.
What? I see white people in the inner city all the time. I see them in the inner city all the time. What you talking about? Gentrification. No, go ahead.
Ah, man.
My question is, do you think...
I can look funny when I go to a minority neighborhood.
You look funny. You're a funny-looking person. I'll look at you funny, too.
Oh, yeah. And follow me around, huh?
Growing up in Milwaukee and having my jobs, I saw a lot of black men that would come in, pangs sagging around their knees, not dressed or acting professional, then they would complain if they didn't get the job. So at least in the inner city, I think that some part of it is due to the way they carry themselves.
Okay.
Culture.
Well, check this out. When I went and got my job at Charter, I was the only one that had a tie on. There was a guy, I swear to God, tore up Green Bay Packers jersey and dude with a T-shirt on. I was the only one there with a tie to the T. So I think what I'm saying is they got the job too. But see, if I dressed like them, I wouldn't have got the job. See, do you understand that? You know what I'm saying? So you got this double inner city people. You're gonna get whatever. You gotta say something. You need people to teach you how to do things. People don't know how to go to interview. Pants sagging around your knees. The dudes. Well, I'm gonna use this venue to say it. How can you run from the police? That's all I'm gonna say. I don't get it. I don't never wear my pants like
the whole time.
I look at it like this. If you got to run from someone and getting shot at or whatever, if you got to run putting your pants below your, it's stupid. But anyway, that's a whole different story. So whatever. Go ahead. Word.
Big question for you, and I think we're all gonna probably have different views because, or at least me, and growing up in the inner city, and not
right because you got picked on.
Why do you guys think people are racist to begin with?
Ignorance.
Do you think it's self-taught, self-taught from their environment, parents?
Parents for sure.
Yeah, example, I think it's both of those things.
3rd grade, this girl right now, 3rd grade, told, like I told you guys last week, I think, the 3 girls of color in the class, you shouldn't be going to this school because you're not the same color as me. That's a 3rd grade. That's a 3rd grader. 2018, Ozaki County, right now.
Wow.
How the heck did she ever? That's her parents. You can't tell his parents. So I can't say hi to these people. It had to be their parents. So it's like, I'm not mad at the little girl. I'm just like, she's just regurgitating stuff that they have because they're forcing you to learn more about black history. It's like, it's American history. Last time I checked. And that's the problem too. They can't stop calling stuff black history. Not the African American people. I'm talking about the schools. Put it into American history. Teach about Black Wall Street. Teach about these things that happened. Because a lot of people don't know about that story. And that was a big time story. That was our first act of domestic terrorism on our own people, if you want to get technical with it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's kind of like one of those things where when you don't bring these things up and you learn about them later. I was angry. You guys caught me good. I got calmed down a lot. I was angry like 2 years ago, reading so many things, learning that these different tribes of even Native Americans had slaves.
Yes, they did.
Go look it up. There's documents of this showing they made an agreement to get off their back, to stop killing the Indians, my fault, the Native Americans, to stop killing them. They made treaties and they took on different sects of having slaves. And it's crazy. It's crazy the amount of stuff. And these are documented. If I wish I would bring it up. And there's too much. We only got an hour. So there's so many things. I had that in
my last podcast.
Okay, great. Great. So that'd be good. But that's what I mean. It's like, it's the black doll, white doll. Y'all all saw that video, right?
Yeah.
Those kids had to be taught that. Because kids play. My little one plays with everybody. She don't care.
Right.
She don't care. It doesn't matter. She loves Rapunzel. It's one of her favorite dolls. Not because she thinks it's better. She has all kinds of dolls, Moana, everybody. But she loves Rapunzel. Not because it's anything. She just loves Rapunzel. That's it. There's no overture to it. There's no racial thing about it. She doesn't think it's bad or good. She just likes Rapunzel. But now that they had to so-called talk about this stuff, and the parents getting home looking at the homework, why you gotta learn about this?
Right now, it's in their head. Yeah, it's
American history. It shouldn't even have to be like a big thing. It should just be integrated into everyday history because it's American history, and that's the problem. I think when you start saying Black History Month. I was just gonna say,
how do you feel about Black History Month? Right,
it's like it shouldn't be that way, but that's the problem. Yeah. That's society's problem. The kids didn't have off for Martin Luther King up here. It's a national holiday. Even Trump signed the paperwork, so it's kind of like what gives? Right. Exactly. So when you can dictate how you look and perceive something as being whatever, it starts out systemically, and then ignorant people take what they can take, and poor people have to find somebody to rag on, right? So that's what happens with that. So then you start learning, well, we don't mix with these kind, and I've heard that several times, and I'm just like, what do you mean you don't mix with these guys? I'm a product. My mom's German, and my dad's African American. I've got the one drop of black blood law and all this other stuff, and everything that happens with me. It's somebody says, well, you're half white. I said, well, you didn't do that when I got the hiring process. You don't look at that. You don't look at my white side and say something. It's me. I've been treated as a black kid growing up, and I've been looked at, and if I didn't tell anybody, they wouldn't know better. And if they did, it's like, well, that's not how I grew up. So it's like, it's just taught. It's a taught behavior. It's definitely a taught behavior, and it's in the blood, in the soil of this country.
I think a lot of it is, like you said, ignorance and taught from family. I think a little bit of it might be environment, and that's only because I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. Growing up through my teenagers in Milwaukee, I was definitely going down that path. My parents were both very racist. I have been jumped and put in hospitals numerous times by black people I went to school with. I was robbed at gunpoint. It was getting to a point where all the violence and killings and the people I was surrounded with were really starting to make me bunch that whole racial group together. And then when I moved out to Ozaukee County, I met a lot of really great colored people, and luckily it wasn't too late for me. I was able to have an open mind and reverse some of that learned mentality that I grew up around.
Right. So you didn't meet black people in Ozaukee County. You met colored people up here and black people down in Milwaukee.
I know, right? Hey, don't worry about it. It's fine. I
know that was coming.
But let me tell you something. White people turn more colors than anybody, so I don't want to hear nothing about that.
Yes, we do.
That's true.
So anyway, that's a joke. Go ahead, Justin.
I want to share a few things that I heard at the men's conference I attended yesterday. And it's really befitting.
Wait. The men's conference? What the hell is this right here?
Fuck?
It's a men's conference.
What is this?
It's held at Elmbrook Church.
Okay,
and it's 130 different churches get together, and we talk about men's issues.
Okay.
Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people are gathered together for this. Mm-hmm. So it just so happens
and you hate the women's march.
No, I get they get their own day coming up.
We'll get there. Yeah.
So we had, I think his name is Nate McPherson. He was a football player for the Chargers years ago, but he is a pastor now. So he got up and he was talking about hate and racism in our country. And it just so happens 3 blocks of the time that I went to involved racism and what did they call it? Racial unification or something.
Right.
Basically getting everyone together.
Right.
So the first thing is that he says you need to erase any preconceived notions of having in-groups and out-groups. In-groups, obviously, are the people you get along with. Rappers are an in-group to you. You would hang out with rappers before you'd hang out with country people. So on and so forth. If you're white, you're more likely to have white people than black people. But he says you need to get rid of in-groups first. Get rid of them. So if you see a group of white people and a group of black people and you're white, try going out to the black people and seeing what's up, seeing who they are. Mm-hmm. Try to learn from them. He also said white people need more black friends. Vice versa, black people need more white friends. You need to mix it up, be more multicultural in your groups. He claims to have people and friends of every color of the rainbow, which he probably does. He played football.
Right.
So he also said that you need to recognize everybody's color. And he put it to the perspective as this. I come up and say, hey, Deody, I know you're black, but I don't really see your color. I see a person. Right. He says that's BS, because the first time you say that to someone, you obviously saw their color.
Right.
So he says recognize it, learn from it, know what it's about. Don't ever tell someone I don't see color, because you're an outright liar.
You're right.
And the very first step to prove that you have racial bias in your body. 100%. He says instead of that, you treat everybody as a brother.
Right.
And obviously we're at the men's conference, so he said share, shake hands, give hugs, don't be afraid to, don't give them a bro tap, give them a hug, treat them like a brother. That's unity that brings people together.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we were hearing about, we have two pastors, one's white, one's black. They're both from the Sherman Park area. We all know there was riots there a couple of years ago. These two guys brought together a black church and a predominantly white church, and marched them through Sherman Park together.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool.
To show unity and, going together. And what I've seen over time, I mean, I wasn't alive in the 60s, so I never really got to see what Martin Luther King was doing to help black people in that time. All I could do was read about it, and all I could do was see videos.
Right.
See a man that never went around spreading hate towards the white man or any other race, color, creed, and religion. What he did, it was aimed to unite through peaceful protest. He used the grace of God to do it, and the way he did things was profound. But the things that happened to him show racism. When you're getting sprayed with hoses and having dogs sicked on you. And the man never committed a crime. But it also even goes to a deeper form of racism, because the man united poor people. He had white people embracing black culture because of the way he was showing the unity. And in the end, he ended up getting shot. And we all know he was assassinated. And it wasn't because he was black. It was because of the unity the man was bringing to this country. A unity no one's ever seen before. Maybe, I mean, never in a time in this country has there been unity of that sort. I mean,
I'll say when you get that much unity, the higher up.
Called him communists. He was labeled a communist and everything else by the government.
They tried pinning him as a rapist. They tried to make it. Yeah, they put out. I mean,
that communist
make it as negative as a light as possible.
Right, the communist thing meant death back then, so that's why that's a huge. That's like the biggest thing. They were trying everything. I mean, in the papers, if you read, it just was horrible. It just was horrible. The things that they were trying to do, trying to get him to commit suicide. There's a lot of things. When you start messing with the money, that's when they
the higher ups money.
Yeah, what I mean by money is people like you were saying. He's trying to bring people together. He's trying to bring people who didn't have a lot of capital, but had strength in numbers, and he was trying to lock all these groups up, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Yep, they started outnumbering it,
And I think a lot of what we see in our racism is people are afraid. They're afraid to unite because they're scared of what lies on the other side. We know that great people, we might not all agree that JFK was a great man, but he was uniting people in a way a president has never done. Abraham Lincoln, despite not wanting to end slavery like he ended up doing, still he brought a lot of people together because of doing that. Every great leader that unites gets assassinated. It's just how it is. And I think that's our first step, is that we need strong leaders that can go. We don't need Al Sharptons. We don't need people like him, because he spreads hate.
I'll say, Al Sharpton's kind of a bad
We
example.
don't need
yeah,
Louis
he's
Farrakhan.
an opportunist.
Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson or whatever, you got to understand something. Somebody spreading hate, if we're going to get into, let's say, okay, we know we don't care, but let's say Al Sharpton cares more about Al Sharpton than we do, right? So to say, so I'm speaking for everybody, right? But when you have a presidential election where a man clearly played on those dividing things to win an election, what does that tell you about the country? See what I'm saying? It's like Barack Obama, I don't care what you say about him or whatever preconceived things, for as much as he got done with the fighting against him to get done versus this way. Now, it's only going to get worse for this guy. No way in the world he becomes president doing half the stuff that was said by this man who was clearly dividing the country and didn't care about the divide of the country. That's
the
messed
man that
up.
was being called racist and all these horrible things by the left the whole time.
Yeah, he was called being a racist because he was saying racist, borderline things.
He was being called that before he said that borderline. The Mexican judge comment was way after he was being called a racist.
No, well, he was being called a racist just because if you go by
he wasn't called a racist when he was marching with Jesse Jackson and getting awards from Jesse Jackson.
You know why he had to do that?
And giving jobs to minorities and women.
After his slumlord things, right? You do know that, right? That was after his slumlord days where he wasn't letting black tenants get the exact thing.
Again, that wasn't him. That was people that worked for him.
Own the company, but you guys, that's what I mean. That's what I was saying by systemic things happening that are racial that you can do it. A company can hide behind everything. A company, the big
they can, and they do.
Right, they can be a person when they want to be in a corporation when they want to be.
But the way that the system set up, I'm saying. So that's what I'm getting at is like you have to understand, and this ain't even about him as being a president. I'm just saying about dividing people because it did do that. Whether
agree, he does do a pretty good job keeping that divide.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. And that's a fact. That's not even.
All you gotta do is throw a tweet out there and off we go. Right.
Very divisive. I'm just saying. I'm not even using him to talk about him as much. I'm just saying that's what we saw. Whereas Barack Obama did not campaign. He said, "I want us to come together. I'm going to come to out whether you like him or not, or whether like a Democrat or not." That's what if you look at who was trying to bring people together, and because you reject them, that doesn't mean anything. Rejection is rejection. You can reject not wanting to come together, or you can say, "Hey, someone said the things that I'm thinking," and there's people who can't explain why they vote for the guy because it's like you said, nobody should be judging anybody, but they do. It's a learning.
Let me ask you something. Do actions speak louder than words?
Depends.
So we'll put it this way. Donald Trump says he wants to deport X amount of people.
Right.
Because he wants a good influx of immigrants that our country can sustain. And that's the reason behind it.
This country has that already, though. If
hold on.
Laws that are on the books.
Hold on. Barack Obama deported more people than any other president ever did. But never spoke it.
Without what, though? But without what? What didn't he do?
Without telling people he did it.
I see. There you go. Do your job. That's all he was saying. Do your job.
And don't say nothing.
You don't have to. Listen, I don't have to worry about getting deported. Do you? You three don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about getting deported. So guess what? You don't really care about that in the
But here's the thing.
So you don't care about
I'm
that.
white.
Then why did this man could come along and say, I'm going to do this? And everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like, why are you saying yeah like that? Like this is like the brigade. We're going to get everybody
out of the somehow, country. Right.
That's how it was treated. Like it was going to be like a rally. And you know, that's what I mean. Like back to what Forrest was saying. Forrest had some bad stuff. Like you even went through some stuff, Justin. I think guys were picking on you. And yeah, you will get it like that. But I've also been in situations where as kids, we accepted friends who came into the group, whether they're new, white, black, Spanish, whatever. We didn't care.
No.
We didn't care.
I think
we didn't care about.
I think to touch on what both you and Justin both said, as far as if you see a group of white people out, or a group of black people, or a group of Mexicans out to walk up and say hi, I think to touch on what you're saying, if we're out with our friends, we need to be a little bit more inviting, because it can be intimidating for somebody being the outsider to walk up to a group of people. So if we're more inviting when we're out with our friends to people that might not generally be the average person in our group. I think that'll help. There's also a really good campaign that's been going on for the past few years called the Free Hugs campaign. They just go out to protest.
I saw
that. And just like hug people.
It was going on during a lot of the big protests with the cops and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like, man,
it's
look,
a good idea.
Yeah.
You can be evil, you can be good. We can sit there and talk about what, like I said last week, what divides us all day. That's everybody will be mad at everybody. I'm not mad at nobody. I like to hear you guys' opinion. You know, it's messed up. You know, I can't really apologize. It wasn't there, but it's messed up that you got picked on that way. But that happens. Yeah. You know, that happens, and it's messed up. Like I said, it could be anywhere else. It's like me. I'm the outsider of all the groups when I go around the places. If it's something new, so I just have that personality. I just go, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? Just because of whatever. Then I'll get the vibe from there. You know what I mean? I'll know what I can do from there. And that's it. That's all you can do. I stopped being afraid a long time ago to go up to different people, different race, anywhere. Even if I'm not from there, you know, when I go to places I go to the inner city. I go see what's going on. Somebody said, well, I'm not going there at 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody should be going nowhere at 2 o'clock in the morning. Right. I'm saying I go to Brooklyn. I go to the project. I go to all those places because I can't be scared to go see where people are from. So I understand more. That's the thing. People need to raise their awareness and read more and whatever else. And my thing is, this the problem with political nowadays. People get divided on that. And I hate that for anything.
Oh, it's just a new thing to hate each other for, yeah.
I have so much respect for.
It's like reinvigorated. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Forrest. I have so much respect for your mentality, the way you're able to just walk up to anybody. Because we need to stop focusing on things that drive us further apart and figure out ways to come together and understand why. Because one thing I've learned doing this podcast is everybody comes from a different background, and those backgrounds usually are the reasons somebody's views might be the way they are. And, you know, just having a normal adult conversation, you may be able to enlighten somebody to things they don't know, or even if you don't, just be nice to each other. I do have a question. Do you guys think racism has gotten better or worse in our country over the years?
Racism's still alive, they just be concealing it.
To
quote Kanye West. I think it went away. It calmed down for a bit, but now it's back out in the open like it was back then, I think.
I think it's just being advertised more.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think social media has definitely took it to that height.
Something I've done says that it's went down. Studies like racial crimes went down.
You can't study that. You can't, because you got overt and you got covert and you have systemic, where certain
systemic
jobs
isn't going to go away.
Exactly.
We don't really have steady numbers.
Then that's what I mean. Then it's always going to be a thing with we're the high and mighty, we're this and that. But the thing now is it's more about money based, right? So that's why a lot of these credit scores and stuff were made to eliminate certain things. So it don't matter what color credit score is a certain thing, they ain't gonna give you nothing. So now it's
problems like, I think with the systemic, I think we still have a lot of the good old boys club left.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Old white guys that were around in the 60s that were big fans of the colored and the white water fountains, we'll call them.
I think.
Are you about to agree with Oprah there, Justin?
Now they just do it right. Now it's just a different thing. Like, no, he's right though. He's right. Like, that's what I think it is. It's like, even at my spot, there's a lot of people that are retiring now. Okay, there's a lot of people that are going that way, but the way, like I said, but the systems are already in place to be what they are. And mind you, when you got workers, and then you got all these other things that are going around to support the workers, can you get involved in the hierarchy? No, you have to be born into that, right? Or you have to be some kind of dude from outside. You know what I mean? You're never going to get to that pinnacle.
Or you got to hit that lottery, like very few do, but yeah.
Right. It's what it is, right? It's just what it is.
I think as we get, I think direct racism has may have taken a decline because with the invention of social media, you know, the internet loves anonymous people to run their mouths. So people run their mouth a lot more on Facebook and Twitter as opposed to doing a face-to-face now.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think there's people in our generation that are more capable of talking like the way the four of us are right now. The diversity that we can show together is going to start translating into the system. We're going to start getting rid of the old Nazis, and And the millennials are going to start getting in that are open to everybody.
But you got the newest now, Justin. That's the thing. That's what I mean. So it's like it's alive and well. So you got to understand.
Is going to hate on everybody, and that's a big issue.
I'm not going to hinder it. I ain't going to let it hinder what we're doing. That's the thing. We need to keep pushing. That's what I'm saying. We need, no matter what you feel like. Like, I don't like people who tie politics into race, like who owns whatever. My thing is, if you're going to be on politics, make sure you know your local shit before whoever is the other stuff. Just don't talk to me about it. Like up here, nobody runs against nobody. Here where I live at, it's all Republican-based people. You know, and you can't, you know, it's just weird. It's just one of those things where, like, you know, you don't see things like that often, and you're like, you can't put nothing on it. But then if I was to, let's say I was to run, what party are you going to be? I said, I don't want to be in no party. I just want to run for this office and then put my name in there and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm not going to ever
run as an independent. Right.
No, whatever. See, that's even part of a party now. I just want to be me. This is me. Vote for me like that. But no.
The D party.
No, right, the D party. Exactly. I just want everybody to get along at the end of the day. I think that just makes a more productive world, a more productive place. Just it needs to be that way. Whether it's the Martin Luther King dream, and then at the same time, it's like when something keeps pushing you. I understand the anger though too, and that's one thing I don't think I could ever like translate to you guys. Some of you might get it, some of you might not. But the anger sometimes is something that needs to be when you see it and you don't understand, don't react to it until you find out and understand why it may be happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, it's there. You know, it's there. So sorry.
Like you said, like we said, racism is born mostly of ignorance and taught from parents or your surroundings. And as we talked about, you know, going outside your comfort zone, talking to other groups, I think those are great ways to help combat, you know, racism in the future. The more we go outside our comfort zone and talk to other groups of, you know, other cultures and such, the more you're going to learn about them, the more your ignorance will go away. And then the more that happens, if somebody has a friend that tries, you know, saying racist things, you're more educated to say that's not right. This is, you know, how it is.
You just feel. I don't even think it's educated. You should know when something's wrong, and that's why I asked you guys. How many things have you guys stopped that you saw somebody else doing that was good? Like I had to tell this dude that I said we can't be friends. I said because you're not going to tell them to stop doing it together because you don't want to ruffle no feathers that way because you're scared to be that dude. It's like if you can't do that, then I'm good. I'm good by myself. Then I don't need people who are going to be on one side and they see me, whatever. You're friends with me, we're friends. They don't have to be because, oh, you're friends with the black guy. Yeah. You're friends with the, but that's what happens though. You know what I'm saying? That's what I don't care about those guys. If you're going to be with me, hang out with me, say what's up to me. I ain't got to be the one black guy on the podcast. I ain't got to be that. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those.
Damn it.
Hey, that's
you had to be.
Deody on the podcast. It's Deody, but that's what I'm saying. But
you're gonna have to change that banner.
Right, well, right, the black guy, right? But
no, it's the three white guys and the black guy.
No, but that's what I'm saying though. It's like until you can get past that and respect people for who they are. You know, like you said, the first thing you're gonna see is that, but you have to be able to compartmentalize that part and say, well, who is this person? And have that respect. I think that's gone from a lot of people on either side of the world is respect. Yeah. You know, respect for human beings, regard for human life. You know, that's what's missing, I think, a lot of times nowadays. So
just remember, white people are the only people that try to get darker all the time.
That's true. I never thought of that.
Hey. No, yeah, you should. Yeah,
we go in tan, man.
Yeah, I guess that is mostly a white thing, right?
For someone,
no, I don't know, man.
A white person that hates a black person but goes out and get a suntan, you're really defeating the purpose.
Wants to look just like them. Wants to look almost. If you think about it, they want to look at the other. You see these other women, you know, it's like, you know. But you hope that's not the thing. But see, that's how our minds are. We're a little older, so we automatically go there. We like run all the trials in our head, right? We do everything. We say, okay, this person did, like when a song come out. I know Skippy goes, when you hear a song from someone, you're like, okay, here we go with the bigger. You're like, oh god, this is horrible. And you listen to this song and you're like, this is bad. Like this is, it ain't because it's who it is. This song is bad. I don't need to see the video. I don't need to see how these look. This is horrible. I can just tell. I don't care what color they are. It's bad. You know, some stuff is just bad, and then you gotta kind of, you know, So like I said, if you haven't helped anybody get out of something systemic, like you said, you took the job right from someone, and you did not. I'm not getting on you guys. I'm saying, but
No,
you're not.
I was
going to
say I kind of sold out as a kid there.
Right?
Because
But you're not going to know though. That's what I'm saying. So
I looked at it like this is the way it is. So
right,
whatever.
Exactly. But see, that's the part of the problem though. When you go with the flow, it don't stop. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things where you must have to do things to be like, hey, So, it's I don't expect anybody to lose their money. You got kids and stuff to feed their family. I get that part, but it's kind of like you can change something.
Before you were able to join us at the beginning, we were sharing our experiences with racist situations we've been in, and one thing I shared was I used to work at Walmart as signing up vehicles that needed to have tires changed, oil changes, and we had this black guy I was friends with that worked with us. He was the only one there, and a dude brought in a truck, and I was signing him up, seemed real nice, but then right before he hands me his keys, he says, "Please don't let that N-word touch my vehicle."
That's fine.
I was like, I just handed him his keys. I was like, dude, just get the fuck out of here. But yeah,
but that's what I'm saying.
You can't accept.
That's crazy. This is what I mean. And I don't know how long ago that was for you, Forrest. But like I said, this is recently. Like you guys know I go to therapy. I post sometimes I'm at therapy, whatever. These two guys. I don't know if I told this story, but this one guy has to be like 70 something in his 70s. He just got his knees done. The other guy in his 60s. They think I got my headphones on, but they're not working right now. But they think I have my headphones on. So then he says, "Are you watching football?" I think I might have said that. And one said, "No, I don't watch it anymore because those guys want to sit down." Like, yeah, they're making millions of dollars. I don't know why they wanted to do whatever. And see, this is what I mean. This is the disconnect. This is the Black Panther moment we had earlier. There's a disconnect from not knowing what's going on. And my thing is, some people never will see it that way because they are so colorblind. They feel that you're privileged. Like me right now talking, it's a privilege for me to talk. You guys can talk, but it's for me to be on is a privilege to talk. And it's like, why does that have to be that way? Why can't it just be this person? But if you don't understand what happened with that situation, but then they made a comment on that way. So it's kind of like, this is what I said. People need to come together. I wanted to say something so bad to them, but I was like, I don't know why I didn't. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know why I didn't say nothing. I wanted to so bad. I was fuming. I was like, say something. Not mad at them, but just want to say something to give them some insight. But see, they don't care about that, though. No, it don't matter. It's like wasting my breath. It would have been wasting my breath. Their minds are made up.
And sometimes you'll just end up making a situation worse. Yeah.
Exactly. And I didn't want that to happen.
For young minds.
These guys,
Save it for young minds where you can mold somebody and
exactly.
Show them an angle they may not have seen yet.
You can't do that with old people. Old people are set.
They're set. They're set in their ways. Like I said, they're set in their ways.
They are. They're old and they're racist. They're old and racist. You aren't going to change that.
I'd say you almost can't fault them for that because they're pretty much they've been raised up to that point too, and I'm sure it started at their parents. Right. Yeah,
they're set in their ways. It's like you don't even care about anything else that transpires in life because and that's why it's hard to say something is right and what's wrong. But my thing is like when you see people say, "Oh, these guys are getting money." And that's the thing. The perception is you see all the sports athletes, everybody get money, but that's not everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's like I don't want anybody to suffer. I don't want nobody to suffer. But it's like this is how this country's set up. It's the best of the caste systems, right? It's the best. You need workers on the low end and whatever. Because Walmart, think about Walmart. Walmart is a retail store, right? They sell products made by somebody else that makes money selling billions of this one product to Walmart. So therefore, at Walmart, you just a middle dude that they can treat the workers like crap anyway, and they don't care, and the workers don't care about their job. Like, it's not saying if you do work at these places. I'm just saying, like even with me and my job,
I hated everything that company stood for.
Yeah,
I'm very happy to see that they're paying more. They're raising their minimum wage, though.
Right, which is fine. But it's the same thing as like this too. I don't think nobody should have to suffer. In the point of, I do believe that since I have certain things, I should have better advantages because I worked for them. But at the same time, I go to these big cities and there's tent cities. I'm like, these people are living outside, bro. Yeah. This is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, and they're all colors. There ain't just one color living in there. It's white, black, Hispanic, Italian, whatever you want to say. They're all there. Like,
being broke can unite anybody.
Exactly. Hey, it's all about unification here on the Force and Friends
and the destruction of America. It's a dual podcast today.
Destroying minds. Yeah, you have to destroy and rebuild. I do agree with that. You do have to destroy the old ways of something and rebuild new. I understand that. wholeheartedly.
We're getting there. We're getting there in America.
Surely, one podcast at a time.
What I would love is I would love anybody that watches this to share a racist situation you may have experienced or witnessed. Share your thoughts. Share your ideas on how to reduce and hopefully someday eliminate racism in America or the world. I would love that greatly.
Well, it's going to be gone in 50 years because...
You all look like me. You all look like me.
Yes, everyone's going to have a tan.
You know, Joe,
I'd say more like 1,000 years, though. We could reach a single race.
That's what they said. They did say, I think Time Magazine did an article on it. Like
50 years, we're supposed to be the minority in our country. The white people will be the minority.
Like, what is that's my other problem. I had a problem with that too before a long time ago. It's like, why does there have to be the word of minority, even in that sense, when you say like someone's a majority and minority, you're saying there that people aren't equal. You know what I'm saying? So not you right now. I'm talking about this is way more hard. I'm saying, but that's what I mean. So you're already. So then you go, the minority. So then what happened is they try to lump women in there as well. No offense to women. I'm just saying. Excuse me. They lump women in there, and like what happened to me, they took my one N-word incident, which they could have took care of that, and they balled it up with everything else. And that's what I think America thought was going to go away. But then again, you only get, 30% of the vote. Who really cares, right? You ask yourself that. You ask yourself that, too. Like, so that's how, now it's not like that. But back then it was like, hey, we don't care. They can vote. It ain't going to matter. But, now people are respecting it more because the districts are all set up funny, which, whatever.
Higher percentages of black people go out to vote than white people. That's just how it works.
This is what it is. That's just that. That's.
I want to say it was like 50% of black people got.
I'll say, but when you're dealing with like hundreds of thousands less people, though, too, it kind of messes the numbers.
It's hundreds of millions.
Sorry, I guess it is in the millions, huh?
Is the best word, right? They say per capita, and it's like, but there's still 100,000 of more people. That's how it works.
Just popped in my head that I find funny is, I just realized a lot of, extremely racist white people are very religious people that believe in Adam and Eve. They believe in Adam and Eve, that everybody came from the same people. It makes no sense to be racist.
What makes you think racist people are...
Look, everybody's...
How do you add those two together?
Well,
that doesn't even go together.
Cross,
religion...
They burn the cross.
Right, but religion has been used to divide as well. You got to understand something. They kept people in bondage by the mind having those different verses saying, well, see, dark is good and light is good. See, we're white, so we're good. That's how they used to keep people thinking that they were bad. Even like these slaves just weren't. Oh man, I'm not. They had to do something different. So they start saying, tell them they're bad. Tell them why they're bad. Show them when they start believing in God. Show them why. And they used to teach them that was what it was. And that's what I'm saying. So that's how do you recover from people? And I don't understand how people can believe in God and be racist.
Yeah, that's the
they
point.
can.
I don't get that at all. I will never understand that. If you're a person who loves people, not saying you're being a dumb, confounded person, but if you believe in
came from the same person, Adam and Eve.
If you believe in Jesus, you love everybody. That's how you're supposed to do it.
That's what it's supposed to be.
If that's what the
true
word
believers, true Christians are not allowed to hate anybody.
Right.
They're supposed to invite anyone in the home, even thy enemy. Love thy neighbor. That's the first two commandments of Christianity are love.
But
love the brother, love thy neighbor.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like judge not, for ye shall be judged. Right? You can't judge people. That's the thing about judge people. Like when Tupac said it, only God can judge me now. I know other people said it before, but when he said it, you got it. He was like, okay, I get what he's saying. He's like, I don't care what y'all say about me. This is me. This is who I am. I don't even care. Only God can judge me. You guys don't mean nothing to me. I'm doing what I want to do. Only God can judge me. And that should apply to all the Christians and whatever else. Like, you're going to be judged by it. So if you hate something, hate is a strong word too, right? You don't get into hate, right? Hate is strong.
Yeah.
So when you say you love someone, you can't be, I love this person. You got to love everybody.
I hate people that sit there and tell everybody they love them. Or 3 days into a relationship, I love you. Like, no, you don't.
Hey, you never know. It might have been good. They might have had a good night.
Yeah, it might have been.
You never know.
He's like, "Why? They never said that to me, but I heard somebody talk about it before."
So, before we wrap this up, is there anything, with the exception of going outside of your box and just opening up to new people that you may not otherwise befriend? Do we have any other advice of how we can improve the racial divide?
Go to a church.
Right? Stay out of jail.
Good
It's
idea.
probably the most racist place on the planet.
Well, I mean, for the 3 white of us, there's a lot of inner city black churches that would probably be in shock if a white man walked in, but they'd probably come and embrace you for doing it.
I think
Yes, they
events
do.
in general.
I've
A
seen
sport
it
event.
several times. I don't see problems. Right. That's never been a problem. For anybody, for that I've seen anyway, coming to a church, it don't matter to me.
No.
Church is supposed to be the less.
Churches love you.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be that way, right? It's supposed to be that way. This pastor did a great thing to show you. This is what I wanted everybody to take on this message. This pastor dressed like he just was becoming a new pastor. Nobody knew where he was. He dressed up like a bum. Everybody treated him crappy.
I heard this story.
Heard the story, right? You gotta look it up. I don't know the name. I'm sorry, but look it up. You'll see it.
I heard it.
Treated him crappy, and that's the thing. We got to get out of our minds, right, to learn how to unlearn the bad things.
The stigma.
Yeah,
Right.
just that first
It's all gonna be
judgmental
stigma.
look at people. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Stigma.
goes for
I love
racism,
living up here where I live at. I love.
homophobia, everything.
Hey, as long as it ain't you, you can do whatever you want. I tell people all the time, it ain't me that's doing the act that way. If you like a guy, go ahead, go over there with it. Don't bring it over here. Like, you don't have to bring it over here, every time. But I'm not gonna hate you for that.
That's what I
That's
was
you.
saying. If it doesn't affect you,
Bring it over.
personally,
Okay. Yeah.
why does it bother you?
Huh?
That's why I always say to people,
Right.
it doesn't
Well,
affect you.
prejudice. Be prejudiced. I tell people all the time, you're gonna be prejudiced. Just don't make it racial.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So what I mean by that is, if someone looks sketchy and you don't feel comfortable going to meet that group, I understand. Don't meet that group. But understand, if it's daytimes, 10 o'clock, and you're going to class, you see a group, hey, what's up? Just say hi. See, they say hi back. If they don't, keep it pushing. I say hi to a whole bunch of people all the time. Random as hell. People
I
know
say
me.
hi
I'm
to
random.
anybody I
I
pass.
walked in Walmart. Hey, how you doing? Some people say hi. Some people don't. I don't get mad. It's what it is. You got to be it all starts with you, and you have to project out.
I don't talk to nobody, so it doesn't matter what you look like.
We know you don't talk to nobody.
I know. I hate everybody.
I just do
No,
the
I don't
typical
think-
white
I think-
nerdy
yeah, I hate
thing
everybody
and
equally.
obviously say something to
Like,
everybody.
screw you crackers, screw you honkies, I'm out.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's crazy. Man, you gotta you gotta give out what you want in return, and sometimes you won't get it, and you gotta know how to deal. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't let one person
Absolutely.
give a voice for everything. Like, don't take my word for everything, but don't take somebody else's word for everything. Don't take because someone said something hateful to you, racial based, and go run with it. Don't do that to
Right.
yourself either. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Everybody's an individual. They don't speak for everybody. So therefore, when you talk to, who DOA is, so therefore you can talk to DOA about it. But if you see some other guy, he might not be approachable as me because that's who he is. Not because he's black, but because that's who he is. You know what I'm saying? Or I can't. Jason's like, man, screw you guys or whatever else. Hey, something's wrong with Jason right now. We can't talk to him. It's good. So you got to be concerned for Jason, not because some white guy. You got to be concerned with people. Get to know the people and be concerned for people. Love each other, right? In a hippie way.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably the best way to put it. In a hippie way, man. Be open. Right.
On to something.
But yeah, man, that's probably the best way we could wrap this up, man. People just need to be more open, be more loving, be more accepting, be a hell of a lot less judgmental.
I'll give hugs.
Yeah, there you go. Free hugs, man.
All right, gentlemen. Next week we return to our normal format where we all just pick a subject that we want to talk about. That'll be the first time you've done that format with this DOD. So just think of something important to you. We're gonna discuss it and we'll all do our own subject.
Fitted caps.
And then make sure you guys check out Justin's channel, Destruction of America. There'll be a link in the comments. And like, share, and subscribe.
All right.
With that said, have a good evening, gentlemen.
All right.
All right, we'll see you all next week. Have a good one.